Could impact millions of student loan borrowers who are in default. Starting in January, some of them could have their wages garnished. That means payments taken directly from their paychecks. But the Education Department says that wouldn't start until they've received sufficient notice and opportunity to repay their loans. Now, this move is months in the making, and it comes as the Trump administration has been moving to change the nearly $1.7 trillion student loan system that impacts over 40 million Americans. Around 5 million Americans have defaulted on student loan payments, which means they haven't paid their debts for at least 9 months or 270 days. Now, experts are stressing here that this is the first time that wage garnishment has happened since the COVID-19 pandemic for these student loan borrowers, and it comes at a time when so many Americans are already struggling with the cost of living and affordability.
So I considered the world, and behold, there was peril because of the devices that were come into it. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 20. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Baruch HaKodesh. Double honors of venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the Lord's elect, the house of David. It's the brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And we have another article here. All right, and this is dated December 26th, 2025. Okay, so it's titled 15-Minute City Nightmare Unleashed. Glasgow joins worldwide 2026 open air prison rollout. Okay, so open air prisons are pretty much what is also known as these so-called 15-minute cities, or freedom cities as Trump calls them. Okay, and I believe through the Spirit that come the year 2026, you're going to see a lot of people moving, all right, from different states. All right, there's going to be a huge migration, or migration, because you're going to have people leaving states to go into different states, and it's all going to be done by design. All right, these elites are about to get ready to move people off the land. All right, you have either through these so-called weather warfare, things that they do. Okay, whether it be fires, that just pop up out of nowhere, or some type of hurricane, or snow, some type of crazy weather. All right, just like you had in LA, the beginning of the year, they had all those fires. Okay, whatever happened to that, right? So you have that going on. And of course, you also have the ability for them to jack up the prices of real estate. Okay, whether you're renting or whether you're buying. All right, these elites are, through the likes of BlackRock and Blackstone and so on and so forth. All right, they're buying up a lot of property and jacking up the prices, hence people can't afford it, so they have to leave those areas. Okay, so, you could expect, 2026 to be a year of mass migration, because a lot of people are going to be moving around, and that's all part of the plan. Okay, shifting the people into one location, all right, on the map, so it's easier to control the population, and then, of course, you're going to have the depopulation agenda in play. All right, all so that they can have this control grid with 15-minute cities, or some places you have 50-minute cities. I heard the elder Pastor Howard's going into that. Places like Canada or Texas, LA or Texas, or even Canada, right? Where you have vast land and space. They might have, 50-minute cities, right? And in the inner cities, you may just get your 15-minute cities, right? So that's what they're working towards, and it's been in the works for years. All right, something known as sustainability goals. All right. So let's read this real quick. It says, the multi-million-dollar scheme crams 750,000 square feet of apartments, shops, student housing, and leisure into a 4.7-acre site, all engineered so residents will never need to leave their tiny radius. But Glasgow is only the latest battleground in a coordinated worldwide assault. The elite, or the so-called elite, through the World Economic Forum, UN Agenda 2030, and C40 cities are forcing this model everywhere, right? All right. It says here in South Florida, Tri-Rail is anchoring dozens of high-density 15-minute developments stretching from West Palm Beach to Miami. Now, you notice a lot of these things that's going on, they're always pitched to sound cool. All right, it sounds cute, it sounds all nice and convenient. That's how it's pitched, but then the reality never really plays out the way it was originally sold to you. Right? It's all part of the deception. They have to paint these things like it's something that people are actually desiring because nobody asked for this stuff. Nobody in their right mind is ever going to ask for a 15-minute city. All right. But again, people have been conditioned since 2020 to be home all the time. Like, that whole social shit is dead. All right. A lot of people are not on the same type of time no more. All right. Life is hard. So, going out to parties, those days are dead. Those days are gone. All right. Even families getting together is like, it's just, the whole energy is just dead because people just can't afford it. All right. Come 2026 is going to be even worse. Okay. But this is all being orchestrated by who? Esau, Edom. All right. Really, the Amalekites, the top elite bankers. Okay. They're the ones who are in control of all these things. And it trickles down through their managing agencies. All right, those privatized corporations, those are the ones that are being used, all right, today to wield power upon the face of the earth. Okay. We get a quick precept here. All right, the book of let's see, the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, and verse 5, it says, Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Right? In the sense that the grave never gets. I think there's actually another precept, all right, that goes into how the grave is basically never satisfied. Right? Like every day, there's tons of bodies that are being buried. All right, but it never overflows, right? That's the same concept with Esau, is that he has all the power over the earth, all right, but he's just never satisfied. Okay, it's like, yo, your thirst for people's happiness, you know what I'm saying? In the sense of like you just want to suck the people's happiness away from him. All right, that's just he's the son of perdition. All right, so he can't help it. He's the man, the wicked vessel fitted for destruction. All right. So that's why he does the things he does. Okay. Look at the attributes that are being given onto this devil. All right. You transgress by wine. All right. That's going into what? Intoxication, going into the philosophies. But when you think of it physically, it goes back to even it was an old Babylonian pagan ritual that the Chaldeans used to partake in. All right, where they'll get these people that would like to so-called learn the inner secrets, the high level, esoteric information or whatever. So they come in there and then they go through their ritual, the secret societies. That's where it goes back to, right? They go into their rituals and all that, but then before they go into the whole ritual thing, they give them a small little cup. And then within that cup is a mixture of certain ingredients. And when the person drinks it, all right, they get intoxicated, and then their minds, they're not in their clear mind, in their right mind. So then they go ahead and finish the ritual and everything. And then once they come back into their right mind, the ritual is already done. You've been initiated, you're already in it, you've already taken the oath, you're good to go. All right? And you can't break the oath. You see? So Esau, you know what I'm saying? They do the same thing today. All right, they do the same exact thing today. You can go ask these so-called celebrities and athletes and them Diddy parties and all that. What you think that's all about? Those are all rituals. Okay? But this time they're doing it on the minds of the people, the minds of the nations, through their media, through their politics, all right, through their education systems, all right, through their financial banks, their policies that they're setting around the world. All right? their military power, waging war against countries. These are all to forward their own rule upon the face of the earth. Okay? It says, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied as death. All right, the man of sin. Okay? And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people. Okay, so that's going into what ultimately the so-called New World Order. All right, you got the UN, because I mentioned it. Right, it says the elite through the World Economic Forum, right, United Nations Agenda 2030, and C40 cities are forcing this model everywhere. They're forcing it because it's in their best interest to do so. All right. All right, so keep going. It says, Frisco, Texas is sinking $10 billion into the fields, all right, the quote unquote, the fields, a 2,600-acre independent zone set to open in phases. Cleveland is pushing government-backed 15-minute neighborhoods citywide. Okay, so it's just happening. It's just happening, man. Europe is already deep in. Paris, Barcelona, Stockholm. Oh yeah, Stockholm's 1-minute pilots. 1 minute. Damn. Copenhagen's 5-minute zones are all marching to the same blueprint, bro. Some places you get 1 minute, other places 5 minutes. Stockholm, I know Stockholm is definitely Sweden because they're on a different level. Them people, they already got the sea hip. Yeah, life ain't really lifing out there in Sweden. They just don't really talk too much about them because the news media over there is controlled by those who run the country behind closed doors. All right, just like everywhere. All right, so they don't allow them to put out any information that goes against, you know what I'm saying, the given narrative. Everyone is in order. Okay, it says these aren't urban upgrades, they're containment zones. The official line is sustainability and convenience, but the real goal is control. Yep. All right, and then they got this whole 6G thing that's coming out. All right, so now it's 2026 going to be the year of the beast. All right, the year of the beast, man. You're going to see a whole lot of things that's just going to make people very uncomfortable. All right, there's a lot of things that the Lord is going to start doing through these devils that's going to make people very, very uncomfortable. Now you're about to see that this man is truly who we've been telling you that he is, which is what? The man of sin, the devil that he is. Okay? And anyone who stands up for righteousness, man, they're going to come after you so crazy. It's a war against truth, man. It's this thing is deeper than you think. All right, a lot of people just they don't pay attention to the spiritual war that we're at right now. People don't see it like that. All right, they just think we just come out here and just curse out the so-called white man and that's it. Nah, this is a spiritual war. All right, these devils are doing all kinds of spiritual things on the left-hand side to affect everyone. And the Lord has blessed, he's blessed all of us, really. All right, but especially the elect, that we're able to not only see these things, but also understand what we're seeing for what they are. A lot of people, the things are happening, they're seeing it, but because of the witchcraft that's happening on the left-hand side, they can't see it. All right, they actually support these things. In their minds, that's the right thing to do. They can't see it. They're gone. They're lost. You know what I'm saying? But for us, we see it for what it is. And then now, a lot of people are noticing these things. Yo, you go on YouTube, you be watching these videos, and it's like everyone has become a so-called conspiracy theorist now. And it's to be a conspiracy theorist is just a term they use, but really it's for people who notice what's actually going on and speak about it for what it is. Like they speak the objective truth about any given topic. In this today's society that everything is based on lies and fraud and scam, people like that are always looked at as a problem, as a threat. Okay, we make people uncomfortable because we speak the truth. All right. So now he has to do his thing, right? Scripture says what that he frameth mischief by law. Okay. Also says that maketh a man an offender for the word. All right, I believe that's in Isaiah. Let me get that. Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 21. It says that make a man an offender for a word and lay a snare for him that reproveth at the gate. All right, that's what you're going to be seeing. All these legislations, these executive orders, these project this, project that. Okay, all these different new rules, new laws, new mandates is all to stop, all right, those that are reproving in the gate, which are who? The prophets of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. Okay, so yeah, ultimately, right, demonizing us and making us seem like we ought to be eliminated. All right, that's what's going to bring that friction, because you're going to have a lot of people who are being like, yo, nah, what these men are saying is true. All right, I saw a video earlier today. I'm going to see if I could get that video part and put it in post-production. But basically, this guy who's pretty popular on the internet, right? Whatever platform he's using at that time, pretty up there, gets a lot of views, and looks like you. And he said, "Yo, man, I'm starting to notice something. I'm starting to realize. I'm gonna have to admit that the Hebrew Israelites were right, or he said are right. I think the Hebrew Israelites are right. Okay, so when people start digging, right, they don't just stop at just hearing it and then they just walk away and be like, oh, y'all niggas is preaching hate. Y'all niggas is always saying this about the white man. And why can't we all come together? Why is it just always going to be just black people that are going to be saved? All this stupid shit. If you actually listen to what we say and you go study up and quote unquote do your own research, in other words, follow up, study, find out if we're saying this true or not. The books we talk about, read them. The information we bring out, double check it, what they call fact check it, whatever. By fact checking what we're saying, you're going to arrive at the same thing. All right. If we go into the what is the MOTB, and then we go into the words, and you go into the same words that we're going into, right? You study, you looking up the words, you going into the root words of it, you're gonna arrive at the same exact thing that we've been telling you about. Okay, because there's only one truth. You just gotta realize it. All right. The opinions, the feelings, the thoughts, all this extra shit, that shit doesn't really matter in the scope of prophecy, because no matter how you feel about it, no matter what you think about it, what prophecy is what it is. It will happen as is written. Your misunderstanding of it does not change it from happening. The judgment still reigns forth. Listen, if you if you fail to understand the prophecies, even after it's been broken down to you and you've seen all these things playing out and you still don't get it, that means you were never meant to get it. Unfortunately, you're going to be destroyed. Point blank, period. That's how late in the game we are right now. When you start seeing, they talk about 15 minutes, how you going to control people within that kind of small radius? You got to have a people to connect to the grid itself, the Internet of Things, the Internet of Bodies, 6G, implantable devices. Come on, man, we're there. All right. It says everything we need, right? You need food, work, healthcare, education stays within 15 minutes. Cars are phased out, right? Because, they emit too much carbon. Phase out the cars, right? Electric cars, forget about that. You're going to be having bikes or you're going to be walking. And you're not going to own those bikes. You're going to rent those bikes for a short time. Imagine that. Damn, bro. It said movement is tracked via digital IDs, carbon allowances, and surveillance. Leaving your zone becomes restricted. Fines or penalties, fines or penalized under climate pretext. The CV lockdowns were the test balloon, and according to the global elite, the public demonstrated that they will comply with authoritarian orders. That's true. All right. And they'll comply and actually help try to destroy those who are giving them the warning and telling them, yo, what you doing is going to end up with you regretting it. Right? Just like when the jump shots came around. Don't go take it. They say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you the one who's spreading misinformation and disinformation. And they go take it. And now they're saying, I think in the Netherlands, all right, they got Albert Bourla and Gil Bates. They're bringing them up to charges, man. All right, for crimes against humanity and so on and so forth. All right, so they're set to testify. All right, that's what's going on. I'm gonna see if I can find that article and see if I could tackle that next. But that's what's going on. All right, we get into Isaiah 14. Is this that man? All right, a lot of people are waking up, man. All right, and that's because of this truth. Okay. It says the global elite are now playing the role of Grand Inquisitor. It says progressive countries like the UK, Canada, and the parts of the US are the primary targets. Their populations have been softened by green propaganda and net zero zeal. Scotland's obsession with zero emissions makes Glasgow the ideal testing ground. HP Invest CEO David Poston openly calls it human-scale design and proximity as sustainability. In plain English, confinement as the new normal. Listen to that. You will own nothing and you'll be happy. The end goal is clear. Traditional society, free movement, family road trips, spontaneous travel, all that stuff will be dismantled. The elite don't need barbed wire. They use well-being and community as invisible bars. Once these zones are locked in, escaping your 15-minute prison could mean drones, penalties, or worse. You know what that means, right? Arrest, imprisonment, all right, detention indefinitely against your will, torture, all right, and ultimately death. This is happening right now. The cages are being built in plain sight. Wake up before your city becomes the next open air prison. Resist while you still can. And listen, very soon, articles like this that we just read, and even me reading it, is going to put me at risk, and those who might be listening at risk as well. The algorithm is going to flag this kind of video and call it deem it a threat on the scale of safety or whatever, e-safety, internet safety. Oh, this kind of video, cannot be online, because it puts the risk and people's safety. It puts people's safety at risk. Stupid shit like that. All right, all because of what? They want to censor the truth. Okay, censorship. When you go into the word censorship, and that's going to be big in 2026. A lot of things are going to happen. Man, 250 years. It's the year of the beast. All right, censorship or censor says Roman magistrate of 5th century BC who took censuses and oversaw public manners and morals. See, so taking census is what? Collecting data. And oversaw, meaning what? Cameras, panopticon, to watch over the public manners and morals. Everything is going to be watched, man. All right. Surveillance, high surveillance, panopticon, for real. Big brother's watching, listening to everything you're saying. All right. So yeah, that's what's going on. Let me see. Right here it says they also had charge of public finances. Oh, the banks, right? Your ability to buy and sell, and public works. Buying and selling is all part of it. To have a job, you need to have an ID. So modern day times of a Roman magistrate is going to be done through AI. Is the AI system. All right. Remember the bringing the image, all right, to life. All right. It says the transferred sense of officious judge of morals and conduct. Ooh. All right. Palantir, Oracle. All right. Larry Ellison. I always mention this. How about how Larry Ellison talked about the surveillance state, otherwise known as a police state, AI police state, right? Authoritarian technocrat bullshit. That everything is going to be recorded and reported. Like, what are you talking about? Recorded and reported, right? So everything you're saying, everything you're watching, everything you're doing is being recorded at all times, 24/7, and being reported to the law enforcement agencies or whatever. It's all data collection. All right. You're driving everywhere you go. Cameras are snapping your license plates. They know exactly where you're going. You know, so if they see your car driving in a different state, they'd be like, "Oh, that's kind of different. Let's stop them and talk to them. Why are you driving all the way here? What business you got in this state? Typically, you over there. How'd you end up over here?" You'd be like, I'm going on vacation. Like, what's your problem? I can't go on vacation? Nah, my man. You have to turn around, right, and go back to where you came from, or else. See. So it says, the transfer sense of officious judge of morals and conduct, okay? In English, is from 1590s. Right here, it says Latin censor had also a transferred sense of a, quote, a severe judge, a rigid moralist, a censurer. Okay, severe judge, a rigid moralist. All right, that goes into who? Draconian. Okay, draconian. Anytime you got censorship, you're leading into an authoritarian, draconian state. All right, a suppression of speech. All right, censorship, state of being charged. Okay, you could be deemed. This is crazy. All right, you could be deemed a so-called theist. All right, I've been going into it. You go into they call you a terrorist. You know, domestic T. They're coming after you no matter what. All right, and this is what the Lord, through King David. All right, King David was actually praying to the Lord to protect us from these things. You know. But yeah, man, this devil, hey, they about to make their move. Esau's about to make his move, man. Everything is lining up. A lot of things are happening geopolitically. All right, you got this whole silver. All right, it's just skyrocketing like that. You know, now they're saying copper is also climbing up the ranks. I said, damn, like everything, we know gold is already up there, right? It's just crazy. It's just crazy how these things are all happening, all just like how the Lord said it'll be happening right in the scriptures, man. So call Loya Bashmi Shah for all the things that we're seeing, because we're definitely truly living in the last days, man. All right, and any day now. All right, this is the book of Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed." All right, so yeah, man, you've seen all these things happening, and we're preparing for 2026. All right, may the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua continue to guide us and protect us and pave the way and make the way for us, because that's the only way we're going to be able to make it out. All right, with the way this devil is clamping down and covering all bases and just shutting everything down, hey, even soon, you know, we've been saying it, you know, work, having a job, and all these different things, you know, just because of what we believe in, all right, it's going to be taken away from us. We're not going to be able to work. We're not going to have access to society no more. All right, they're building the infrastructure to lock us out. All right, lock everyone out, unless those who take the MOTB, that could be locked back in. All right. So either or, it's either you're going to be locked out or you're going to be locked in. Lock out of their system and the Lord take care of you, or you get locked into their system and now you're fucked, waiting to be destroyed by thermonuclear destruction. Anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you're edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Basham Yahushai, Basham Rachakodash, the water Yahweh Basham Yahushai. Until next time, Shalom.